Abby Paradis. If there's anything that you're working on lately or want to introduce, feel free to go ahead.
Just my normal
Yeah,
writing. I write about pretty much anything. I prefer
yeah.
Medium.
We're
I'm
similarly
trying to
niche-less.
post on Substack more, but
Yeah,
I prefer Medium. So
yeah, me too.
Me
I'm not
too.
really doing much though. I'm editing more now. So
Oh, are
there's
you
that.
in the Medium Editor program too, or no?
Yeah,
Awesome.
in with the
Oh, nice.
memoirist and Age of Empathy.
Okay, good.
Oh,
I'll have to
nice.
do some more submissions
Mhm.
to you guys. I absolutely want everybody to make money on my stuff.
Yeah, I feel the
Yeah,
same way. I'm like, okay, let's divvy up. Like, who can I write for?
yeah. Something that I
Are
think
you
was
guys
a
both in?
Yeah,
yes.
Are you both in the part? Okay,
with
cool.
Cultured. Yep.
Something that I think was an
Okay, cool.
unintentional drawback of the previous system was that it kind of inspired writers to scout out the specific publications that would nominate them. And now I feel like it's one of the best aspects of this new system is that it's just the opposite, where it's like it almost feels selfish to self-publish if another
That's
person
a
could be
really
making money and I'm not even losing anything as a result. It's
that's a good point.
Yeah. I I've always loved that. I love that about Boost too, where it's like I knew I could submit my stories and then the editor would make some money on it. So that aspect of it has been preserved. But exactly as
Yeah.
you said, it is good. Well, we were just talking because the last one I've been deliberately submitting more to Ben just because I'm like, yeah, man, if I can support Ben, I'm happy to do it. And hopefully one of them hits. It's always like $10, 10, and then something does well. But the last one I did was about unplugging. We were just talking about that and like just 2 weeks ago, I'm just like, I wanna listen to the Beatles, and I got my Beatles CDs. I, like, got physical CDs, and I go outside, and I listen to the Beatles, and I watch a fire, and I'm just like, my mental health is recovering, you
Better.
know? Well, it's just because we just don't realize that screen capture is so powerful, and we don't choose any of
Mhm.
the things that the algorithm it's like somebody else has made the choice, so you get the illusion of a choice. You're choosing from things some malicious force has chosen from as you're scrolling. So it's just like looking at a real fire. I've had this thought. I'm like, that's a real thing I'm looking at. It's not a screen, like differentiating between how it's different than a screen. And yeah, well, you were talking about the influence of AI too, and I think that's an interesting topic.
Yeah. I really think that people are so like there's certain constructions like I've been having I have an essay in the works that is about quietly. The
oh my
adverb
God,
quietly
yes,
and
yes.
I'm like I don't do anything quiet in my life ever. Like I'm like this has to be AI and then I'm like do people do things quietly? Like maybe this is a me thing. I do nothing quietly. Nothing. Every time I see that word, I'm like, I wouldn't no think I'd do that quietly. So it's like quietly processing what this relationship meant to me. I'm like, I think I do that loudly.
You're not
So
supposed to use
It's
adverbs anyway. Somebody said it was Stephen King and on writing. He said don't use that. Although then I was paging through Edgar Allan Poe and I'm like adverb, adverb, like Edgar Allan Poe. That's a little bit better than Stephen King. Sorry, Stephen.
as an unreasonable proponent of the adverb quietly, I'm appalled by what AI has done to that verb.
you like it, you do everything quietly.
It's not even that I do things quietly. I think I've just kind of liked the rhetorical effect that it's had in certain sentences
Interesting.
when I think like in a social movement like quietly taking hold or something like that.
All right. All right.
But I see you're right. My English teacher took similar issue with the word frolic because he would argue that this isn't anything that anybody ever actually does
Does.
in any circumstance.
Frolic's such a great word, though. I course,
I
I
was
Right.
course,
gonna
I
say
never
I actually
used.
I'm
think
a
I frolic.
Yeah,
I'm
I've
a
never
defender
used
of
it what its
frolicking.
intended meaning. Yeah.
I think frolicking is valid, personally.
Well, you guys, this is lovely. This is a wonderful talk. It's a writing talk. I've needed just a writing talk. And what you said before, Abby, about how people are starting to adopt AI constructs, and that's what they're trying to
Mhm.
replicate now because it's just well, it's not action, it's crisis, and it's not crisis. It's like just these but people have always done that, but you're right, it has changed where people are absorbing this AI model as like an accurate model. Um, Libby just wrote about it on her post. She was just like, "Ah, I'm so tired of this." And I wrote back, it's like when you're reading AI, you never forget that you're reading And I think that's maybe like the difference between good writing. It's like
Mhm.
sometimes you're reading, it's like, holy shit, this is like I'm
Yeah.
in this world. You'll never get that from an
Yeah.
That's a
AI
good point.
I
generated.
think
Well
I
said.
think the difference is completely like about embodiment. Like AI never embodies
Yeah.
the like work. It's very strange. I find it so abstracted from like the human. And it's like, is this what I have to send a lot of pieces back? And I'm like, add something about you in the piece. It's a personal essay. And I'm not sure what you've put in here that's personal. And some people are like, what do you mean? I said this. And I'm like, there's nothing personal here. It's really wild. And I wonder if they've written it and they just don't know.
Yeah.
But it's getting a little scary.
Well, that was a real point of emphasis of the Boost program, which was really, really good and really important, was that you are the expert on your own life, and then like start
I
with
like that.
and it was like something that happened to you, and then pivot and make it into a wider perspective. And just that model was really a good summary of what makes a good and a memorable article.
I think it was Joe Gay. Are you guys familiar with him on
I
Medium?
really like him. Yeah.
I'm sure because he's boosted a lot. And I think he early on said that the like requirement for the boost program is to be an expert, and you're an expert on at least your life. And then I was like, oh, it was like the light bulbs. I had already gotten boosted twice. I looked at what they were and I was like, oh, okay, I see. It's like really centered on me. And so then it's like, okay, that's cool. Because yeah, you can write to that. It's like, yeah, I do know me
Yeah.
intimately.
And for the people here, the Boost program did just end, and so we were all Boost
True.
nominators, yeah.
Mhm.
And it was a great program. I loved it, and Medium is kind of nice. We were talking about the algorithmic capture, where Medium doesn't have any kind of scrolling feature, where it is a little bit more just straight writing. So it's a good. And I think I'm longing for that. I've been enjoying these lives. That's a great feature that Substack has, and I've been using all these candidate interviews and stuff. But lately, I've been feeling just exhausted.
Yeah.
And I think like going back to just the straight writing, I've been deliberately writing more like just stories, like this is something that happened to me type stories rather
I
than
like your
articles.
stories.
Oh, thank
I
you.
will admit that like when you get into like I feel like writers can pigeonhole themselves. They can start writing on the same topic over and over. And when you deviate into like these other little topics, I'm like, really liked that.
Good,
Like,
thank you.
I don't know. It feels more, yeah, I think it feels more connective, where it's like human. It feels more human
Another
because we have
thing.
so much to fight about. Sorry.
Yeah.
Another thing I was realizing that's a big benefit of this program. I'd been feeling kind of pigeonholed into just writing for my own publication these past couple years, but now with this new program, it's a reason to submit to all sorts of publications that I might otherwise not. And I think something that was really fun for my first couple years writing on Medium was just scrambling to join as many publications as possible and
Oh,
asking myself, what could I write that might fit into that topic? And as the boost system took hold and it became what I would write would be more submitted by, okay, what do I think is eligible for this boost nominating publication so my work has a chance to get read? And it's nice to set aside that sort of opportunism.
yeah, true.
I
Like,
think it's interesting though, talking about this too, and it's like it's making me understand more of this editor program. Is every publication editor, or is it a select group at this point?
it's a select
Excellent.
group at this point, and then I think they're gonna
It's gonna
roll it
evolve.
out to more.
Yeah, and even with Boost, you would see Boost. It changed, and that had been like a 4 or 5 year program. I mean, it just came to an end.
Oh
I
yeah.
met so many great writers through it. I was able to recommend a lot of editors to become Boost nominators, which I really like
Hmm.
that. So anything that's always this giving back, and it is always so important to just people that are writers. You need to work with editors. You just need to just have some thick skin and appreciate that people are trying to make your work better. And it's just such an important element that is being lost in so many other aspects of, the various platforms we use.
I couldn't believe that they didn't pay editors
Yeah.
because I had such awesome editors like early on who really helped me construct a lot of pieces. I had one viral article. I tell this story. I had one viral article and I submitted it, and I submitted it to Susanna at Virago. And she came back. I had worked on it for, I don't know, like a decent amount of time. And she came back with a lot of edits, right? And I was like, ugh, like,
Yeah.
like I was like, like I got really like cranky. And I said to her, I'm going to pull it from your queue. and give it a little time, and then I'll put it back in your queue when I'm done. And so I like got over my crank and I was like, okay, do what she's asked, right?
Yeah.
Look at her suggestions, do what she's asked. I read it and it like totally takes up. I was like, okay, all right, she knows.
Yeah.
It
Yeah.
was really wild.
Yeah. A little bit of time. A little bit of time because it
Mhm.
does always sting. It pisses me off every
Yeah,
time. And
it
I'm just like,
stings.
yep,
It's like,
that's right.
damn it. Yeah, exactly. You kind of have to go, okay, she's got a point. She read it. She's my first like audience. She said what felt right for her about what was wrong with the piece. And it works, you know. It's like, okay. And then I totally changed like my tune. It's like my editors matter. Their feedback is purposeful. So I like that though.
Yeah.
Ben,
Thank goodness I took her advice.
Ben, are you finding too? You were saying that you see a lot of replicated AI type constructions or not?
Yeah, I was curious to ask you guys if you've noticed this as an absolutely ubiquitous problem on social media. I find that for basically every Instagram post now, it's an AI generated caption, and the
Really?
it might just be that I've convinced my algorithm that I like this because there is this
Blocking it.
like hate read element where I start reading it and I can tell it's AI and I'm just like, all right, how does AI address this topic? And but yeah, my Instagram feed, it's to the point where I think literally the majority of captions you see are all done by the same exact voice where it just brightly explains the topic and yeah, it's a little maddening.
I have you seen the ones where it seems like they took an old interview and then they make like an AI video of the person, but so it seems like it's a legit video. Like the sound is legit, but the video is not. Have you seen these?
I
Oh,
think
I've
I've
also
seen
this also relates to what we're saying. Something that I've noticed more is that when clips from certain movies are published on social media now, they're edited in such a way that makes them look more like AI generated videos. Like
Ah,
like saturation is heavily boosted, and even movies that are just live action that take on this unduly cartoonish feel now. It's so strange.
yeah. This
My
is all
daughters
coming
are
up.
always showing me, like, shorts of animals, and every single time I'm like, "Is it real?"
Yeah,
But
it's
I've started not saying it to them because they start feeling really bad if they've been, like, hoodwinked. Like, my daughters are 12 and 8, and they're like, "Is it not real, Mom?" And I'm thinking, "I don't know."
That's a
Like,
good. That's
I
a good
really
question.
don't know.
I'm glad
it's
that
so
they're
hard to
Yeah,
asking
tell
like
that question.
sometimes.
Yeah, do it so they don't feel
yeah.
bad, but there's been these ones because everybody's algorithm is tailored to the type of person who's looking at things that we all are, and this is really nefarious, and it's gotten smarter. But I mean, a lot of this stuff, like you were talking about, Ben, they're trying to normalize AI. They're trying to make it like, oh, this is something already familiar. Let's
Yeah.
change a beloved movie that you like and make it more AI looking, so that when we show you AI, you'll not
Yeah.
instantly reject it. And the ones I get are these are clearly AI where it's like 2 newscasters and they're like, "This child's drawing," and then they found the father and it's like, "Oh," then they start laughing. And I'm just
Yeah.
and it's like, "That's all fake." And it's like, I think that's what's designed to make a 50-year-old white dude like me appreciate AI, and then what Ben sees is probably different. What you see, Abby, is different. So it's sort of like, I'm just gonna go back to writing
Do they
stories.
make money off this, though? Like,
Yeah,
do
they
the
don't money.
people
Think
See,
make
so.
money?
rich people will have all the money. They print all the money. So they just every industry. It's like we keep forgetting this. Those of us who work, we keep forgetting that money isn't what drives everybody. Control of the population
Laborers,
is.
damn it.
Yeah. It's kind of hard to get out of that mindset because yeah, they don't profit isn't a thing to them. They just want us all to be their slaves. So
Have you guys
who's
read,
left?
I think an excellent essay on this, is well, I think an excellent writer in the field anyways is Jeffrey Anthony. He's like a philosopher. I think you must have read some of his. I think he's
I mean,
published
he's
in Thought
familiar.
Thinkers. But the one that now I forget the title. Taxidermy Chic, maybe?
Okay.
Something like this. It was really, really good. Like, I love this essay. It's like, oh no. Like, he's just like pulling back the wool and it's like, ooh, very
I'm not
dystopian. Very
curious.
much like what the links you sent me. It's like all related.
Oh, like these the shows. Okay, Ben, that's a good segue. Let's get into what you
Yeah,
were
we
that
can
video.
Yeah.
segue.
So this is the rare time where I felt the need to give my two co-hosts a little bit of homework beforehand because I find this material so captivating. I'm curious if you guys had a chance to look over that at all. It's all related to this recent movie that's come out called Backrooms, for a little bit of context.
I watched the found footage one. I didn't see
Me
I
too.
couldn't get the Instagram ones open, but I can't use
Okay, sorry about
But I
that.
saw the found
Good for me.
footage one that was like the exact radio that I had in
Oh.
my car. So I'm like, "Oh, great." Yeah. Abby? Did
Yeah,
you get
I watched the same exact ones that he did. I watched the found footage ones. It kind of reminds me, like, I was thinking of 2 movies came to mind. Now oh my goodness, what is this movie? I
Blair
I
Witch?
learned the title and then I lost it again.
Mhm.
It's this undersea man, and it's the aesthetic of this is very green and teal and browns.
Ah,
Um,
Shape
it's
of
like a
Water?
government building. That's it.
Huh.
This building kind of reminds me of like this same liminal space vibes. I know there are people in it, but it feels like off. And then the Blair Witch Project is also
Yeah, yeah.
makes me feel like that.
Uh,
Um,
Another
sorry.
reason I was curious to talk to you about this, Abby, was I was wondering if you were also neurodivergent enough to find this eerie kind of appeal in this place that should otherwise be haunting. It's so strange to me that I can simultaneously recognize that this place feels really insidious, but there's this other part of me that also kind of wants to spend an eternity there. It's
Hmm.
it's so strange, and that's also what kind of makes the movie for me, that it's able to tap into that strange desire.
It's like maybe the call of the void a little bit. Like you
A
get that
little bit. Yeah. Yeah.
but I actually spend a lot of more time than I think. Like I do take a lot of photographs of street art, so I go into a lot of bandos. And like I spend my time in some very liminal spaces.
Mhm.
And I'm often surprised by our lack of why have we built so much that has houses no people?
Yeah.
There's also that element of just like, why are no people being able to use this space? And I felt that way watching the big yellow rooms. It's like, that's so much covered space. It's perfectly empty.
Yeah.
And it's alluring because it's so empty. And it's also like, ooh, is this just all waste? Like, how do we have so much space that's been
Yep.
built out?
And that's what
It's haunting in many ways.
I'm writing this piece right now comparing Backrooms to The Shining, and how Kubrick kind of tapped into liminal spaces before liminal spaces were really a recognized thing. And for me, I always kind of had a hard time putting my finger on what was so appealing about that movie, because it was never really the things that are considered most climactic. I don't
Mm.
particularly love the characters. I don't particularly love the final chase scene, but something about that environment is just such a wonderful,
And you're talking about The Shining?
yeah,
The
yeah,
Shining?
yeah. It's
I totally get that.
okay, yeah.
Well, I mean, that was okay. What year did The Shining came out? About 1980, right?
Yep,
And
yep,
so
on the dot.
then, I mean, the only other thing we got was like end of the world dystopia films. Like that was the other part of it. It's like, oh, the world, Mad Max. And so you got destroyed buildings and things like that. So I think it's just like we were talking about how AI influences everybody's writing. I think all these
Mm.
nuclear Holocaust films probably influenced that. So yeah, these empty spaces, it's like something's not right. Like
Yeah.
instantly, it's not. You got all this space that could be used, it's abandoned, so that just already puts you off. But
Yeah.
yeah,
This
go ahead.
this conversation is tying together really well, because another aspect I really liked about the movie was the allegory to AI, uh, in that everything is recognizable enough that you can at least say, "Hey, that's familiar to me. I am used to seeing objects like this," but just off enough that it really strikes this strange part of you. And AI generated pictures and videos, especially a few months ago before they started getting so good, were really, really steeped in that uncanny valley effect. And I think that
Yeah.
was what was so poignant about this movie for me.
Backrooms is now what we're talking about?
Backrooms and the creator who did Backrooms also did the videos that I sent you.
Okay. And then when did this come out? Is this a new movie or is this
Yeah, just
Yeah,
came out.
when did it come out? Just came out.
I
Okay,
saw
is
it
it
opening night last week.
okay.
All right,
Well, give
cool.
us a little bit of background. Give us the pitch for what Backrooms is.
So there was I believe it was 2019, where someone posted on 4chan a picture of this empty office space that was just very evocative for people for reasons that people couldn't quite name. And
Hmm.
it ended up kind of giving birth to this whole culture on the internet called liminal spaces, where people just either take pictures of or create themselves these images that feel recognizable but different enough to still create this uncanny effect. Do you know what the uncanny valley is?
Uh-huh. Uh-huh. Yeah.
Mhm.
As things get close to looking human, there's this point where we have a valley because we really don't
Exactly.
like it, and then it
Yep.
goes back up. But they're doing that. They're recreating that with
It,
spaces. Like
exactly. It's
Mhm.
architectural uncanny valley.
so,
Hmm.
you go into a room like a room that might remind you of a classroom where you had a really bad experience. You get a creepy feeling and not know why, and like the whole like you were saying, the whole hotel in The Shining,
It's it's
creepy feeling.
it's this really fascinating combination of like tapping into warm memories and also like repressed ones. It's like it's very strange. It really is kind of hard to put my finger on what made that movie so magical for me, but it's been very rare that I've walked out of a theater so yeah, so captivated by a concept.
Was it well attended?
Extremely. It was a packed theater.
Okay.
Oh, good.
Oh, wow,
I
cool.
I think I've told
I'll
you. Go ahead.
sorry, I don't mean to keep interrupting you. What were you gonna say?
No, I was gonna say I had the experience. Like I think I've told you about it when I went to Peru and I was learning Spanish through full immersion. I had this really vivid memory of the last time that I couldn't make myself understood, which was from when I was like 7 or 8, and, like, just the memories that came back, stuff I had
Yeah.
so sometimes and I think we get that, sometimes these things trigger these memories, and I'm old enough now where it's like, yeah, I'm getting there's all these ones, you just don't we just don't have a good filing system for our memories, so there's just this magical thing that makes it come up, so just looking at things in a strange way or a new perspective on something that's familiar somehow triggers these things. Yeah, because that experience of like, that frustration. I hadn't experienced that frustration of not being able to make myself understood for so long, and it
Yeah.
took me right back to that moment, and those memories were so vivid, and it's just like it is seeking that stuff out, triggering as writers.
Hmm.
We were talking before how we kind of have this habit of being similar to hoarders. My wife will tease me because I'll keep because these are relics, and I can pick up something that I haven't seen in a while, and there's the story again. I can pull it
Hmm.
out. And it's just like, if we can evoke that through a new trend in film, yeah, that's compelling to me too.
That's really
Something
interesting. Like, do you think that writers yeah, I do think that writers are, like, very exploratory with their memory, and so maybe that is a way to unlock memory. Like,
Yes.
the liminal space actually does open. That's very like, I really wasn't thinking that, but actually it did unlock memories for me just watching his footage, and his footage was just I've not been in a place like that. I've been in a place a
Yeah.
little bit like that in
yeah.
Montreal, what are they called? Oh my gosh. Parking garage, like a
Yeah.
multi-layered parking garage and very much,
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
crazy. Um, but yeah, it unlocked various memories that's quite interesting.
There was a really good movie with Robin Williams. The movie wasn't all that great. The concept was good. I think it was called The Final Cut, where everybody, when they're born, they're implanted with a chip that records all their memories, and then he's this editor, and so he makes like a 2-hour feature of their life based on everything that they've seen. But then he finds out that he actually has that chip. Like as an editor, you're not supposed to have this because he's deleting out all this stuff. But there's a really interesting part in there where early on in his life, he thought he'd knocked this kid over and killed this kid, but then when he was looking at his footage, he realized the kid had just fallen and he'd like knocked over a thing of paint. And then like even in his memory, the kid was moving. And I think this is like the essence of writing, where we sometimes are tormented by our representation or misunderstanding of a situation,
Yeah.
and we It's like, it's not right. And we worry it and we go back and we write about it. You write about the same thing again and again. And then you get a little older and maybe you have a romantic experience where you feel like, oh, I am worthy of love. And then you reevaluate some of your childhood memories again. So we constantly are doing this too. So unlocking memories in new ways. And then it just, as you get a better framework for how you choose to look at your life, like, oh, actually, I don't have to have self-hate, because that thing I thought happened didn't even happen, or the person I thought I insulted wasn't even mad. But there's that could be misused, obviously, too. But yeah, that movie, The Final Cut, that'll get you thinking.
Something that I've really been enjoying about writing memoirs lately is that it's an exercise in reminiscence and just being able to bring back memories that you might have forgotten, and also the emotion behind it too. But there's one other component I was going to address, but my
And no, that's why we write.
It's failing.
It'll come back. It'll come back.
Yeah,
it will come back.
It will come back. It certainly will come back.
Look up and to the left.
One other aspect that I really like is that it taps into this fiction part of you too, because you obviously can't remember every single thing that happened in a given day. So when you actually try to like depict the specific things that someone would say in a specific conversation, that is all fiction, and you don't, and the specific things that somebody did while they were conversing with you, you might ask yourself what would likely have happened in that moment. But there's so much of my fiction brain
I like
is
that a
being
lot.
tapped
I
into when I'm
love
writing
memory
memoirs.
construction, like.
Yeah.
But you're like, how much of that is real?
Yeah.
My daughter called me.
I don't really care.
Because in the whale story, my blue whale story, and I'd written it out because it really happened, but then I wrote it out and it was actually me who checked online and not my daughter. And so when I read her, she's like, that's not how that happened. I'm like, yeah, but narratively it's better like this.
Yeah.
It's called Serve the Story.
She's like, okay.
Narrative embellishment.
I wrote one about my daughter too, and I kind of like merged parts of her all into one day.
Yeah.
And she also read it and she said, I'm not like that. And then she had like the next day, she did everything, all of the things that I put in this, all in the same day. And my partner kept going, she's doing that next one. And I'm like, yeah, I know she does it a lot, but she was so hell bent on the how I make all of my children give me editorial consent before I publish any story that's about them. And she was like, barely not going to give me consent. And I said, these things happen.
She's like, show me money, mommy. Yeah, let's see some dollars. But it's an adaptation, right? It's like there's the real life version, and then there's the story version, and then there's the movie version. They're always a little bit different because that's the medium. It's got to change. Real life is not effectively portrayed as a movie. It has to be, it has to end on something happy.
Oh, you have to be able to film it too.
Yeah. Somebody wrote about that, how it's like at the last scene of a film, like somebody quits his job and he triumphantly walks out and they're like, yeah, but in real life, then he wakes up the next day without a job. He might have felt triumphant right then, but 6 hours later, he might have felt like shit. But we're just going to leave that for now and just like kind of go home happy.
One of the biggest roadblocks for me in writing memoirs is the feeling that there always has to be a moral at the end of it. Like you can't just. It technically, memoirs like necessarily do have that component.
Yes, like the traditional memoir does.
Yeah, and I didn't actually realize that at first.
Or like
exactly, I didn't realize that when I started writing memoirs. I assumed that you could just simply tell the events of that day and then say, okay, story over. But it's tough for me sometimes to say, like, is there really a lesson here, or is this just another experience of, okay, I'm in a cool place with cool people? Because that's a lot of the memoirs that I most want to write, and it always feels very labored at the end when I try to say, okay, and here's what this means.
Could that not be the meaning, though? Could that not be the meaning? Just like, it's good for the soul to hang out with good people.
Yeah.
I don't know. It could be like you could transform that into.
I think it's the moral of too many of my stories where authors would just be like, okay, you said that 5 times, dude.
Well, I call it the thread. Like you're following. There's got to be a thread. It's got to be something that goes through the thing that ties everything together. I like doing the callbacks to earlier parts.
Yeah.
And just I think we're all questing for meaning anyway, though. That's like the whole point. It's got to have some point. It has to have. So, and you just in quest of that final line that you can kind of smack people with as you end the story, so that they come back for the next one. You want to keep them for the whole story, and then
Do you guys
hit them
think
so they
you're
come back for
good
the
at
next one.
ending? Like, do you think you're good at ending stories? I think
I
I'm
feel
terrible at endings.
They're
I'm
particularly
fucking
good.
awesome at it. I'm great at it. I'm done with imposter syndrome. I'm fucking great at it. Yeah.
Like
I'm
Salman
sympathetic to the
Rushdie,
people. I'm sympathetic to the people who say, ChatGPT, can you generate me an ending?
I don't even know how to use that. That's the benefit of being old. That's one of the one things I don't even know how to use AI if I even wanted to, which I don't.
I've tried it and it sucks so bad. I'm like,
Yeah, I know.
I'm like, I just wasted my time here when I could have used my brain and figured it out. Like, that's how I always feel. I'm like, why did I go here? Why did I? And maybe it even sends me down like a wrong tunnel. Like, I'm like, oh, well, maybe that makes sense. And then I write it like, just if I like, what would you say here? What would be the logical step, right?
Yeah.
And then I just call it he. I don't know why. He puts something out, and I'm like, is that really it? I go like, okay, I'll write on that, and I'm like, this is terrible. This is not good.
It doesn't know. It can't see the thread. That's why. That's why it's no good. The thread.
It cannot see it.
And like good writing compared to bad writing, it's like they'll overlap to some extent, but then it'll be the same, and then good writing will just have that sublime moment. And then it'll go back to being normal again, or it'll take you back. And I was thinking that movie, that last Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, it's like you're watching DiCaprio on that, and it's like media. And then there's a couple scenes where he just takes you out of the sense of I'm watching a movie. And that's why he's just a second level. I never liked him, but it's like he's a second level actor. He's good because he has those moments that just captivate you. And then you're like, oh yeah, I'm in a theater. I'm not experiencing this emotional moment with this fictitious character. And yeah, that's what AI can never do that because it doesn't have it's not alive. It doesn't know what that feels like.
My friend Jim wrote a piece that I really related to called The Beauty of the Bad Example, about how he would sometimes use AI to generate an example sentence or a conclusion or whatever, just so he could say, wow, that's horrendous. Here's how I could improve on that general idea. And there have been a few times where I've it's been useful for me to see what exactly AI would do in a situation, just so I can do it better.
I don't even like it when they change a word. I don't even like when they give me a word suggestion when I'm writing. I'm like, I'm trying to think of the word I need. You're fucking me up. Turn this off.
It's today I was was writing a stupid story, but I was writing something, and I had used snarky. That's the word I had used, and I was like, "That's not it, right?" So I polled the audience. I said to my family, like, "What would you say here?" Because it was very specifically about how I had deflected, right? Like, so somebody called me a name, and I had deflected it back onto them, called them that, and then I said that they were right in the grand scheme. They were right. And later on, I still have this voice chirping in my head that says, I'm right, they're that, right? Still years and years later, I can still have that really
impertinent instead of Starkey?
I don't know. And then I ended up making it I don't remember what I did, but it was one of those adjectives where you make 4 or 5 words all combined with a hyphen. It was some real weird. I was like, that works.
That's what was Twain's line? The difference between the right word and the wrong word is the same as the difference between lightning and lightning bug. I was like, yeah, okay, that is kind of a big difference. Oh, it'll drive you nuts though. I have one. There's one wrong word in the whale story, and it just pisses me off. And it hasn't popped into my head yet. But it's like, I wonder.
Yeah, it's I know English has this word, right? I know it's got the word, but I don't know the word.
And then when you invent the perfect word and they fucking tell you that doesn't exist, that pisses me off too. It's like, this is where words come from, asshole. It's like, that's a legit word now because I made it up.
That's another thing I've occasionally found that AI is useful for, being a refined thesaurus, because there are times where words are employed in such a way that if you just type into Google synonyms for this, it'll give you the wrong part of speech for that word. Whereas if you give AI your specific sentence, it'll know specifically how that word is being used in that time and generate synonyms around that. So I think of it as
I did not ask AI,
refined
so
thesaurus.
Huh.
I'd be curious to see what it would give me now, but
Yeah.
I didn't go to AI. I asked my kids and they were no help.
There's some kind of writer jokes you can get away with by like just pounding, like, pounding a 3-piece Lego onto a 2-piece. You're doing that with words, and like other writers would be like, "Okay, I see what you did," but it's like, I made a joke about a typewriter and something recently, and I'm like, only writers are gonna think this is funny, but that's okay.
Mhm. I say that a lot. I'm like, I see their vision. I see their vision. Like when I'm editing, I'm like, I see the vision. Might not be my words, but I see the vision.
The whole trick of just swapping a paragraph from the end into the beginning, that happens to happen a lot. That's one of the things I often will do with that's one that gets people all excited when you send them back their edited page and you put one of the, like the third from last paragraph right at the start. They're like, "What the hell are you doing?" It's like, "Trust me, it works. It'll work." Then they don't. Then they withdraw it and come back in 3 months.
Another bit
Because
of
it's
advice
like
that's surprisingly helpful sometimes is being told to switch your title and your subtitle.
Yeah, that works a lot.
I got that one a lot. And at the early stages of writing, people were telling me that all the time. I'm like, okay, I need to listen.
Yep.
Like, I'm thinking in the wrong order.
The new rules of titles, though, because titles are no longer yours. They're no longer part of the story.
Yeah.
They're like a search engine
Yeah.
tool. So it's sort of like you have to kind of accept that. Yeah, it's not part of writing anymore. It's programming.
Also, when I started out, I was doing like very poetic ones, and people are like, nobody knows what that's about." And I was like, "Oh, whoa, we're writing for the algorithm.
Yeah.
Oh, okay."
The
Like,
robots
I
who
was
determine
really
who reads our
confused.
stories aren't going to understand
Mhm.
your title. Well,
I
fuck the
hate
robot.
some of my titles, but I'm like, the story's good. The
Yeah.
title sucks, but
Yeah.
the story's good.
Oh,
Yeah,
Sometimes
that's
I've just
weird.
gotten so lazy with titles that I just give it anything at all, and the story languishes as a result. And like it'll be strong sometimes too, but I'm just like, I just gotta give this something, put it up there, and
do you spend a lot of time just brainstorming titles without even thinking of an article to write for them? Like, here's just a good title, and then I'll, it's
I
something later date.
I do not, but I get routinely upset. This is really funny. I get really upset when somebody uses an awesome title, and I'm like, "Damn, I should have had that title."
Should've
Like, I
had
get so upset. I'm like, "Ooh, that's so good." Like, I
Just do a
hope this one
variation of it. You
makes
can
some. I know I saved them, but then I'm like, I gotta wait. I gotta hold that one back for a while. And I actually had one that was titled, and one of my favorite writers wrote an essay that was almost damn near my title. And I was like, okay, fine, I'll wait on that one. So I
yeah.
haven't even published it yet.
I'm still surprised that my best article to date, or at least seemingly in the title department, is "A Trump supporter walked into the bar."
Yeah.
That was a really good title, though.
That felt just such a like a half-assed one to me. It was the first placeholder I came up with. I just put it there, and as I published the piece, I'm like, I don't know if this is good. This feels kind of trite, and
I really liked that one.
um,
That one struck a nerve.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it had the keyword you needed, and then it sounds like the start of a joke. So it's sort of like that's gonna work for the majority of the population. So
Yep.
yeah. Oh, it's perfect. I watched a movie this week. I wanted to bring it up. It was kind of fun. I was looking for lately I've been going back in the past. I mean, just because everything feels I was talking about this in a live the other day. It feels like AI is getting into so many scripts these days where it's like they don't
Yeah.
feel like real human made movies anymore. And so I was
I don't know.
going through and I found this movie by Steven Spielberg from 1989 called Always. I made the kids watch it. It was like the pacing was super slow. Do you know this movie? It's
No, I don't.
it's I guess I'm not giving anything away. It's Richard Dreyfuss. He plays this he's a pilot and they put out fires. He's deeply in love with his girlfriend, but he's a reckless pilot and he dies and then he comes back as her guardian as a guardian angel for another pilot. And he has to work through like his relationship with her. So it's just sort of like right away it's like it's such an antique idea for a film, it's like and we wouldn't do that anymore. We wouldn't have like a person come back from the dead as a, he's just walking around like a regular actor, but we all know he's the guardian angel. Well, it turns out it is based on a script by Dalton Trumbo you know this guy, he's the guy who wrote Spartacus, who had his name taken away. There was a movie made about Dalton Trumbo in 2000, what was it, 15, with Bryan Cranston. So he was a great screenwriter.
Mhm.
Yeah, they were doing all of his movies, but they wouldn't credit his name. Anyway, so it's this movie. The script was from 1943, so it's like the Steven Spielberg
Wow.
remake was 1989, but he and when they were working on Jaws, Spielberg and Dreyfuss were just reflecting, "Oh, remember this movie we watched when we were 11? Let's remake that." So it's this really strange movie to exist in
Yeah.
1989 because it has so much of this feel that's from, the 40s. But it was fun to watch because it was just like a simpler time movie. I was watching it and it was about processing grief. So it was like real emotions you don't see in movies anymore. So that was one that I would kind of, I don't know. I'd be curious to hear what people thought if they were to watch it. It's called Always from 1989. Holly Hunter and Richard Dreyfuss.
Always.
Yeah.
Did Steven Spielberg's new movie come out? Play it all into your decision to watch one
No,
of his older ones? I'm
it
very
was just
excited about
totally
this new
random.
one.
I'm excited. I saw Ready Player. I like Ready Player One. I saw that was streaming somewhere, and I'm just like, oh, I could watch that one again. I like that one too. But the new
I
one, what's
feel
the
like
new
I've
one
seen
called?
it, but I don't remember it.
It's called Disclosure Day, and the ad for it was entirely too engrossing.
Okay, I'll have to watch that. Yeah,
What was it called again?
Disclosure.
Disclosure Day.
Disclosure Day.
Yeah.
It comes
Always
out
was
in a
one
week
that
or
was
two.
clearly like a artist's personal project that was built on a lot of nostalgia. The Fablemans kind of felt like that too, where the Fablemans, I don't think it quite worked by by itself, but it was like so much of his own. Do you know that movie? The one where it was Spielberg. He's basically telling his own childhood. It's about this young kid growing up who is like fixated on movies and he keeps getting better movie equipment. He's making movies to show his class. So it doesn't quite work,
Hmm.
but it's sort of like, okay, this tells me a lot about Spielberg. So I appreciated that.
As a
Hmm.
film enthusiast, I'm ashamed by how few Spielberg movies I've seen to date.
Have you seen
I also
Close
have not seen
Encounters?
many.
Close Encounters, I have seen. He did
Encounters.
E.T. also, right?
Yeah. What's your thoughts on Close Encounters? I'm just kind of curious.
Oh
Simon
man,
Dillon just wrote about it.
I would enjoy it as an adult. My dad showed it to me when I was too young to really sit with it, I think. Yeah, it tested my patience, and the payoff in the end wasn't enough for
Yeah.
10-year-old me.
I kind of feel that. I kind of felt that even at the time, but I mean, that was peak special effects when it came out. And
Yeah.
that's another one where when I took my kids to the drive-in, like the first time, like 10 years ago when I took my kids to the drive-in, I was standing there, I was like hooking up the thing, and I had one of those vivid flashbacks, and I'm like, I'm about to watch Close Encounters. Like,
Mhm.
and I like I didn't even remember that I'd seen Close Encounters at a drive-in before that, but it was like it came
Yeah.
back so hard. So it was another one of those and I kind of have an affection. I like the scene where he's making the Devil's Tower out of mashed potatoes. And it's just like, what the fuck's going on? And then he makes it in his living room. Yeah. There's a couple scenes cute in that. That was
Hmm.
one you'd seen, Abby, or not? Or didn't have any strong
I
opinions?
have seen it, but I don't remember it.
Oh,
I
yeah.
have seen it.
It is kind of dated. It's been kind of surpassed. It was at the time it was
It was
new,
a
and
long
now
time
everything.
ago.
Yeah.
Are there any shows or movies that have stuck out for you recently, Abby?
Boy, I don't even know what I've been watching. Like,
Yeah,
have I? So I saw that I don't think I've been watching very much. It's been very hot here, so right now it's been the best that you can get. So we've been going out and rollerblading almost every night. So I like basically am spending my time writing and doing all the things that we will not be able to do in the summer because it gets so hot.
Yeah.
So we're doing we do all the activity stuff now. So I haven't really watched anything. And I saw that I got an email that said your Netflix has been paused and your whatever has been paused. And my partner was like, do you pause everything? I'm like, we're not watching anything. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know what I've watched. Maybe some bad. I have. This is slightly embarrassing, but I have watched a lot of clavicular interviews.
No,
Because
that's an
it's
interesting conversation. Let's talk about look maxing.
What even is this? I don't even know what we're talking clavicular.
Oh my gosh, don't go down this rabbit hole. It's very odd.
Hmm.
It's a rabbit hole though. I mean I absolutely see his autistic nature. I
Is he
like
autistic?
when they oh, definitely.
Oh, yeah?
Where do you
It's
even
like
access this? On YouTube or something?
on YouTube.
Okay.
He's a very popular young influencer. He's called JD Vance Subhuman. He's really, really intriguing. Um, but he's a mix of, like, I find him really I have, like, an article in my head about him in a really different angle because I think he's I'm really sad I'm talking about this. He gets really his tactics are really crazy.
Mhm.
And so the sensationalized stuff works to draw the crowd in, and they love to hate him. But when he's actually talking about his, like, philosophy, it has a coherent autistic logic, very coherent autistic logic. And it's like, okay, he maybe hasn't, like, I find being quite neurodivergent myself that sometimes your motive is directed maybe a little off center. Like the bullseye where you've placed it is not at all where another normal or more normal person would place it. But he's nailing it. Okay? He's pulling that arrow back and he's getting it. Now everybody hates this, but his logic is so consistent. It's airtight for him, and he's not willing to shift the bullseye. That's basically my take
The
on
I
him. He's very interesting.
the idea of coherent, autistic logic is hilariously relatable to me. I know someone who is exactly like that, who can, on an intellectual level, explain entirely too well why he does something the way he does. But
Mhm.
to me, I'm
I
still
suffer
just
this.
like, that doesn't quite.
Well, that's
Yeah.
okay. So this
I feel like people have to shift
Yeah.
my bullseye a lot. And I go, "Oh, you'd put it over there." You know, and it's like, it's where I'm meant to be aiming." And they're like, "Yeah, where have you been aiming?" And it's like, "Over here." And they're like, "Why?" And I'm
why?
like, "Because this, and this." And they're like, "Right, but you've missed this." And I'm like,
Yeah.
"Oh." Like, it'll be like, "Oh."
Yeah,
So
that's
I
like a
think
check your elevation. That's a check your elevation kind of moment. It's like, where are we trying to land this plane? It's like we have to land there. But this is also, it made me think of my idea of the rhetorical sleight of hand, where
Mhm,
and I started talking about that because we've seen those videos where they take the chocolate bar and they cut it up, and then they're like, "Look, there's a piece left over," and it's like, yeah, but it's because you took it out of the middle. And we have so many arguments like this, like magicians. They're able to, but they're rhetorically, they're able to walk you down something. And this is actually the entire structure of our age, where it's like we all get caught into, well, this is how we think about things. I wrote that article the other day about how not trusting the government is the motto of the Confederacy. And like so many people are like, this is it. It's like the only reason we say that in the United States is because the Confederates were mad. The governments told them that they couldn't have slaves. So then they turned that to, well, the government can never be trusted. And then people just say that like that's a normal thing to say now. And so, it's like that rhetorical sleight of hand where we have these assumptions that have been around for 100 years, and we're like, that becomes logic. Well, this, and we have to just reassess. And I think this gets back into memory. It's like, let's take a look at that thing we assume to be true, and like, let's try to look at it from a new angle or from a new elevation. There's a doorway out of the mess we're in because we can discard
right.
that now.
In my day job, I actually am basically hired to do exactly what I just said, like find the weird logics in science research. So with science research, it's oftentimes the conclusion is dependent upon the question asked. But if you alter the question, the same data produces a different answer. And so you actually have to ask many,
Yeah,
many questions to see if your data holds. And this
yeah,
is not done. This is routinely not
yeah,
done. I have a
yeah,
essay that's like science is not the authority that you think it is at
yeah.
all.
Well,
And that
yes,
really scares me logically because when I speak it, people really don't like this. Like they've married themselves to that, and it's like it's about the question that was asked.
yep,
This is the question that was asked, and this is the question that they answered. And I'm very good at that logically because I really fixate on logic a lot. And it's like, yeah, but
yeah,
ask this question, and then what do the results give you? Ask this question, and
yes.
then do the results give you?
I've been fighting with people too about like the linear political, like left, right, center. It's like that's a straight line. That's like the worst possible. That's the worst possible oversimplification. If you had another axis, it becomes much better. If you had two, now you have 3 dimensions and you can plot your data points. But if you're only plotting them on a line, we get a whole blob of thing. That must mean something. It's like, no, it's because you've got an oversimplified model that you're working off of. My wife and another
Everything into
story.
the binary.
If you've
Sorry.
and if you've got a 4-axis model, it makes more sense for somebody to go full circle and go from anti-vaxxer or leftist to suddenly QAnon.
They disregard like the overlap between progressives and the right. Like they acknowledge, they're like, oh, all these Bernie supporters voted MAGA. And it's like, yeah, that shows that the progressive message appeals to the extreme right. And it's like, but they push down our throat. Oh, all Bernie, they blame Bernie for all this stuff. And it's like, by your very argument, you're saying there's overlap there, and they won't address that. And they'll get into fights with you. Another one too, like when my wife was doing her research on ELL student or ELL teaching and stuff, one of the papers had a line in there where it said the researchers said, well, the dual speakers, the Spanish speakers who were ELL teachers that had the new 2 languages, it said they seem to assume that they were more effective ELL teachers. And I'm like, this is an example of bias on the part of the researchers, because you didn't disprove that people that know multiple languages are not better at ELL. And it was just one of those things that's in there where they were putting it forth as if to like discredit this assumption of the people they studied. But it's like, no, that actually discredits you. So that's fundamental to academic research, what you're doing.
One of the biggest fields that I study is neuroscience, and the neuroscience, like it's a very dicey cultural narrative, but the cultural narrative around adolescence is very fraught. So we say that they're the way that we define the results of the science is that they're deficient, right? And so by doing so, we assume an efficient adult, which you don't have. Then if you go into the exclusion criteria, you exclude basically every brain that exists in the population.
Yeah.
Basically every brain. Anybody who's had any substance use, anybody who didn't have nutritious food as a child, excluded. And it's like, whoa, our brain maps are really, really outliers, like big time. And that one really blows people's minds, because they don't think about who was excluded from the studies. And it's everybody. It's everybody. Like everybody I know would be excluded. So what about those brains?
Yeah.
In this
what are we talking about? What are we saying? And the neuroscientists who have done the work were silenced when they came out and said, please don't use this in cultural narrative. It's non-representative of the populace, which is wild, because I think it's some of our most strong, most potent narrative.
Yeah.
In this high school sociology class, we had to each come up with hypotheses and conduct polls among the student bodies in order to confirm or deny them. And I think one of the most interesting things about that experiment turned out to be how much ownership we would take of these silly little hypotheses that we just came up with for class, and how quick we were to discount the people who fell outside of our narrative. So it really just goes to show, like, on a broader level, like, you can just see how the people who make hypotheses really want those hypotheses to be true, and if they're putting in the time to conduct experiments, they want to see themselves be right.
I only did one science article takedown, and I was like, oh, I'm really nervous when I bring the 2 sides of my work together. And I'm like, well, maybe I'll just throw it out there. And I tried to make it. I mean, it was very long because I have a lot of research experience, and I don't know how well it went over. So I was like, maybe I won't say that, because it's really critiquing what the scientists said. And I phrased it as, this is 100% rhetorical. Like, they have a rhetorical goal. And the science, if you were a good scientist, you would say, I cannot conclude anything substantial from this data. that stinks for a lot of things. It's like there's nothing here.
Yeah.
And scientists, I think scientists feel really. So I've written about her once in another personal essay, but I had when I got to Spain, I had a roommate who was doing a PhD in chemistry. And every day she came home and she said, "Oh my gosh, my results are all over the board, everything." And I said to her, "Your PhD is that this method does not test well for this outcome. That's the conclusion. That's what you have to write." And she was so disappointed in it not working. And I said, "Look at these data points. It doesn't work." And she wrote that finally, but it took like almost a year for her to really say, like, so the scientists themselves is like, "I need this data to work."
Right.
And I said, you don't. You need to report that it doesn't work. And she was like, "Wow, I would have never done that." And she got her PhD because this doesn't work.
What you're saying before, what you said before about how our brains, it makes me think social engineering. Like somebody out there who like wants to colonize Mars has an idea in his head about what a brain should like, and then they invent all these parameters to exclude everybody. But this ties into like our fundamental identity as Americans, where we're all sinners and we're not all inept. Like everybody's always, on one level or another, they're looking at reasons to justify punishing us or to revoke our personhood, right? I was revisiting the Milgram, the obedience to authority, and it's like,
yes,
did anybody recreate that in a completely different culture, like not a self-loathing authoritarian culture like the United States? Have they ever done it in like a culture of kind people and seen if they got a different result there? Because you can't assume, like, if the population you're using is American, your study's already tainted because Americans have this perverse idea that half the population isn't human, the half being women, and then another half of what's left over is not human because they're not, the cis white man.
Evolutionary biology, another big field where it's like, you can really only claim something that is evolutionary if you find it cross-culture, and you cannot claim that it's evolutionary because evolution doesn't select for that. And so, oh my God, the science coming out of the US and this is like fraught. It's fraught. It's not fun for me to read at all.
Like when my wife was doing her master's, she was getting this research and she was like having a real hard time with it. And I'm like, well, get some papers written in Spanish. She's like, she hadn't thought about that. I'm like, yeah, you're a Spanish speaker. It's like, the teacher, it's not your fault that teacher's not bilingual. It's like, so, but then the teachers got mad because they were like, well, this isn't the same academic. It's like, how can it not be? It's science. Science is all the same academic standard. This makes no sense. But she was just like, I just want to get through this program. Like, I think we should, okay, fine. I'm like, I think we should fight. Let's get them. And she's like, okay, fine. We'll back away. But it's bizarre, some of these ideas. Go ahead.
They do make the PhD students here also do their dissertation in English. You can't be in like a Spanish institute and write your PhD dissertation in science
in Spain
any
or any part of the and that's just in
Spain.
Science?
I know that in science.
So this was in education. Really? But science has to be in English? I mean,
speaking English is such a huge advantage.
I know, that's crazy.
Well, it's not as if there haven't been some pretty significant scientists
I helped her with her dissertation because I was like, she was like, I need the vocabulary. I need to give the whole thing in English.
Wow. Who came up with that idea? Why is that the case?
No idea. I have no idea. I'm imagining that there are papers written in Spanish afterwards, but it's like they want you to be, I don't know. Is it about research grant money? I don't know. That's like a whole other thing, is that science is very economically constrained. You don't.
That's some colonizer stuff that we can't do academic research in other languages.
You don't get funding if you can't appeal to the right groups. And if you are already a published researcher and you want grant money from the States, then you're screwed.
I'm blanking now on what specific language it was, but I heard something recently about this specific language that is just structured in such a way that it's more conducive to good science among its speakers because of the way that it helps you arrange your thoughts to begin with. It would be helpful if I could actually say what language that was now, but
I've never heard that.
the Germans I met were they were consistently very, very precise. And they have, like, one of the things about German is they have their 3 genders. They have male, female, and neutral, and they don't have anything like in Spanish, you have the O at the end as male. They have nothing like that. So it's like the sheer amount of things you have to memorize to be able to speak German. And it does change you. Like my personality in Spanish is a little different when I'm speaking in Spanish all the time than when it's English. And I think and I was in Germany for a month and I got pretty good at German. There's a certain precision. So that's what would be my guess, but I'm curious to hear if that's what you found. Was that the one it ended up being, or what language is it? Did you see it yet, Ben?
I haven't actually begun searching, no.
Oh.
Is it like,
Yeah. No.
is it like a major language or it's a smaller one?
It's a smaller one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's obscure.
Huh.
Oh, okay.
Oh, that's awesome,
like
though.
that.
But it does. I mean, if you have
Yeah.
you have the opportunity to live, and are you generally, Abby, a Spanish speaker then? Or
My
no?
Spanish is woeful. It's woeful. It's really bad. I can
Yeah.
survive and I can function, but I work primarily in English, and so everybody in the street speaks to me in English. Because I teach around, I also do my science research and I write. So I'm in English the whole day. I am functional though. Like, it's the weirdest thing. I can function. I understand better than I speak too, which stinks.
I did my total
Because I'm
immersion.
like, I get everything, but I can't convey to you that I've understood everything. I mean, I can convey that, but
My friend Kenny Minker, who I got lunch with when I went down to Peru recently, has a wife who's a fluent Spanish speaker, and he is a pretty fluent English speaker whose Spanish is more than passable. But it was interesting hearing him talk about how he's not really willing to attempt humor when he speaks Spanish, and similarly, his wife isn't really willing to attempt humor when she speaks in English, and ever since then, I've really noticed that. Like, I just very, very occasionally, when I feel like I can get humor across in Spanish, will I try it? But most of the time, I'm a pretty concrete, direct person when it's Spanish.
I'm
Yeah.
nothing but jokes in Spanish. I mean,
really,
I have all kinds of fun playing with the words. And as a non-native speaker, you come up with some things that they've never thought of before, like some connections. So yeah, that's
I
really
try to
fun.
make some like puns, but they fall flat. Like, people don't get what I'm trying to. I've only found one Spanish pun that they actually make themselves, which is bureaucracy, like burro, like
Like a bro,
donkey.
yeah.
It's really donkey, like the donkey of the slow, bad donkey of their bureaucracy, but which is true, which is very true. So they've got a point.
It helps to break the ice when you're trying to make jokes in the foreign language. I won a game of Scrabble in Spanish once with a bunch of native Spanish speakers who were playing, and they were so mad. I was using good Scrabble tactics, and I'm just like, they were pissed. We got beat by the gringo. It was kind of funny. I'm a good Scrabble player, though. That's another thing of writers. They end up being good Scrabble players. Oh, perfect. Well, I guess we're at our hour. This has been just so much. It's good to see you again, Abby. It's been a little while since we've been a chance to. It's probably been a year, and it feels like 100 years since last year. Yeah. So, well, the Memorist and the Age of Empathy you're ready for. Which would be? I've got a story about narcissism. Which would be a better one for the narcissism?
If it's a memoir, a traditional memoir, the Memoirist accepts traditional memoirs, so full story arc. If it's more like you're a personal essay or creative nonfiction, then that's Age of Empathy.
Okay, I'll have to read it again. I wrote it a little while ago. I was wondering who I could send it to, so we'll try. You can always tell me to send it to the other one if you look at it.
That's true. That's what I do a lot of times. I'm like, that one goes to the Memoirist. That one goes. I mean, it makes sense. They're hard. They're like right on that line of. I mean, an essay a personal essay builds it out a bit more. Like, you might have, I don't know, some other theme that you're working off with your life, but a memoir is like more traditional.
Okay. I don't think it's quite memoir, but how much storytelling can you get away with in the Memoirist? Can it be like some of the ones I've written that you've seen lately, the ones where I'm talking about growing up?
Particularly on your narcissist ones. Yeah, some of them read as memoir.
Okay.
I think I published like that.
Okay. Good. I'll have to do that. Awesome. That's awesome. More places to send stuff. I'll have to go write something right now.
Well, it was a delight talking to both of you guys, and thank you everybody
Same.
for joining.
Thanks,
Thanks.
Ben. Thanks, Walter.
Yep.
Yep. Thank you guys. See you.
Have a good one, guys.
Bye.